Pierce and I are super bad at handshakes.
Oh my gosh.
Dabbing each other up, we're probably like a 20 cent bag of shit is what we are.
Amen.
Dabbing each other up, we're probably like a 20% success rate. Like we are always just like miss. It's like,
and it's usually because we're not paying attention. I feel like that's it's like, oh my God, like that was so funny, dude. But we're like not even looking at each other. Like, we don't even care to actually do it. We just like know it's the idea. It's like
it's the idea, not the execution, because we never execute well.
Never.
Ever.
We can never do it. I had a moment at work. I got called out. This lady, she has like grown kids, and she was like going for a fist bump in the hallway, and I was like, hell yeah. And I totally, like, right as our fists were about to hit, I just kind of like pulled back because I was honestly scared I was gonna like hurt her hand. She's so tiny, but I was also more just lazy, and like I don't know. Fist bump, yeah. And that's not the first time. There's been plenty of other things with strangers. Like we realized recently, like, we're bad.
It's true. Like other people, I'm like, yeah, dab me up, and then I'm like, wait, you're not Pierce, and that was probably terrible for you.
I know, they're probably like, what was that?
It's like when someone gives you a handshake and they're just like limp.
Yeah. No, we're the limp dabber uppers.
Limp dabbers.
Limp dabbers. Last podcast, we announced some new hoodies we were going to come out with this Sunday. Unfortunately, but also fortunately, this week we also discovered, as of yesterday, a new opportunity for both you and us that allows it to be a cheaper and more quality product.
Right. I finally matched with someone on a dating app, but it was a business friend.
The business version.
Bumble. So go me. Matched with this guy who's like a product developer. He like just helps people develop and design products. So we met with him this week. We met with him yesterday, and we got some more intel on product development. Anyways, so we're going to go this route instead because it's very promising in making it cheaper for us, cheaper for you, like Pierce was saying, and hopefully higher quality. So we're going to be looking at ordering samples this week, hopefully today, but soon. And so that's just in the development stages, just so you know. So we didn't want to just like release these hoodies and then start looking at these new options and
better stuff, like more just cooler stuff as well.
Right. It would be pointless to like ask people to pay for a hoodie and then get a better hoodie for cheaper in the future. So we're just trying to think of the future of Sondersight. So it will be on hold, obviously, for a second because we got to design and go back and forth and stuff. But
a little shift change, but nothing too major, and it's for the better.
Always for the better.
Always.
With that, we wanted to talk about the growth phase and the process, and not so much about just business, but in every aspect of life. We've been doing a lot of improvement in our life and our physical bodies, and just like a lot of aspects. Like we still struggle, obviously, and we're not perfect, but we're the growth process we're talking about.
We're slackers sometimes, you know?
Pierce is a slacker, apparently.
We're all slackers sometimes, I think.
So, question for you, Pierce, man.
Yes, sir. My man, Trev.
Where do you feel like you've grown the most in your life in the last 6 months?
You're talking personally, right?
Yes.
So last 6 months, that goes back to...
Let's just do the last like 3 months, because I feel like the last 3 months have been more...
Okay.
Yeah.
January, December. I would say I've grown the most in planning the last 3 months.
Really?
Yeah, I used to think, and we've talked about it, where you go on a trip and you have ideas, whether you're with a group and they plan it or whether it's your own trip. And I've also realized there's been moments where we have no idea what we're going to do because we don't have that good of a plan. And this year, with a due date and moving and work and trying to plan all these dates out, even going on dates with girls, I get so discombobulated, and I feel like that has been something that has been a major growth spot for me.
But also you've ruined like 3 dates in a row. So
yeah, no, and I suck at it. And that's why I'm like, I need to, you're right. Like I'm still bad, But I also feel like it's the one thing I'm concentrated on now.
Concentrating is a good word. Yeah, like you're not done with it. You're not
Right.
the best. You haven't received your 5-star sticker yet, but
Right.
you're in the process.
I don't have my gold sticker yet.
Huh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. One way that I've noticed growth is going to the gym, and there's just dudes that are just jacked out of their minds.
Yoked.
And they're just fit, and there's also people that are not fit at all, we'll say.
Yeah, just out of shape.
Right. It's just funny to see like everybody in a different phase of their growth phase. And so for me, I had to like constantly remind myself like the past few weeks that these people who are better than I am or like more fit than I am have already went through their growth phase and they're still growing. But that was a process, if that was 6 months, a year, whatever, however long that process was, they still went through it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just have to like constantly remind myself and not compare myself to those who are at the finish line and have succeeded on their goals, but to look at myself and how far I've come.
Right. Okay. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's sick. I feel like we've talked about it. You've brought up to me too. And it also gives comfort knowing that there's possibilities like that to be in such good shape or to be that strong.
Yeah. It's motivational.
Right. It can be. And it's like you said, comparing can be a dangerous game.
One way that's helped me with this, though, is appreciating my small wins. I know that as long as I am showing up to the gym every day, that like the progress will come and the results that I want will come. All I have to do is just be there and work out for the time that I wanted to, just as long as I'm there. One thing that I wrote down while I was walking around the gym this week, let me just read it. I said, nobody will appreciate your small wins as much as you will. You got to give yourself credit for your successes. So it's just like,
wow.
I made it to the gym today. Go me. But nobody cares. Nobody cares that I made it to the gym.
It's true.
I don't got to post that on my social media, I'm just there and like, go me,
Right. Like this is the grind time. I feel like that's another important thing with social media. This a little tangent again.
Go for it.
Is that it's okay. I think it's awesome when you're not posting your small wins, like you just said, when you have little goals like that, just showing up to the gym or you gain an extra pound or something. Right. At least in my life, I don't like sharing those little things.
Right.
I want to be like a surprise, like pop, social media. Whoa, this dude's been working hard on whatever goal it is, whether it's like I have a good job, whether it is my physical shape or some big trip that I've been saving up for. I like just... boom, surprise, there you go. I think that's a fun and motivating thing for me, at least. It's kind of a pop surprise. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what a lot of social media is. Like there are a lot of people that post about, their final results, but what people don't see are the long hours and the commitment at the gym. Like,
right, totally. And
that's why social media can be so harsh and so bad, is because you're looking at all these people, like I said, like at the finish line, at their end goals, like their final product. In the instance of video work, someone posts a full 2-minute video of all this sound design and editing and all this stuff. And you're like, wow, this guy's so awesome and he's so cool. But it was only 2 minutes of your day, the viewer, but it was like a 60-hour whatever plus project for this person, right?
Like he worked his tail off.
Right. And so it's just, we got to constantly remind ourselves that there is like a process to this.
Agreed.
And that's why I deleted social media this week.
Hell yeah, man. One little detox moment for you, right?
Yeah, detoxify. If you're a fan of Rick and Morty, when they detoxify, that's how it's been. I had to get rid of that guy.
The toxic Trevor.
Yeah, for real. Which I highly recommend, by the way. Detoxifying and getting out of like the social world and just focusing on like your day for a week is awesome. It's been great.
I thought you were recommending Rick and Morty, that episode, for a second.
Oh, well, I mean, I definitely recommend that too.
That was funny in my own mind. Yes, detoxifying yourself. I agree. I was really stressed with Sonder sites. It felt like I had to be on social media, but it's also been good because it pushed me to be on social media because I really hate social media. I really, like 6 months ago, could not care less at all about it. But because I've been pushed into it, I've actually grown a lot in that way too. I think like we know there's good and there's bad with social media. And I feel like because I've been on it, I've been trying to focus on the good rather than just like leaving it and then going right back to the same like habits when I get back on it, So it's actually been better, I think, for my growth. And I'm excited for a moment where I need a break from it too,
Yeah. Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks, man.
Heck yeah. Being away from it all, I've started to realize that like I don't want to create things that other people want to see. I just want to create what I want. And so not having social media is just like me having a day that is just a genuine Trevor Call day. Instead of, there were times that I wanted to post things on my story, like things that I was doing for work or video or funny things that happened throughout my day. And I was like, wait, why is that the only thing that I'm focused on, you know? Why can't I just chuckle to myself?
Why can't I just have a good time in my head?
Right. And it's not like so intense. It's not like every life decision I'm like, oh my gosh, should this be on social media?
Right.
There were just like a few moments, you know? So weekly cleansings are always super nice, or a day, you know, like whatever will get you away.
Wow.
Yep.
Clever.
Thought of that on the spot.
Yeah, he did. You're good. Even taking a break can be a similar idea to looking at a past self, a past version of yourself, and going into a present version of yourself. Not even physically, like the little detoxification in any form, whether it's a diet detoxification, you kind of feel like a new person. It's the same idea that you see, or that you think of like later in life. People are gonna be like, wow, Trevor, you are so calm and like cool, and collected, you know? Right now, no, he's not. He's a shit show sometimes.
Hey, watch it.
I'm just kidding. He's fine. We all know he's
true,
fine.
Like you look at me now from like 3 years ago, different.
It's true. And I feel like we all have those moments. And again, that's where I'm going though, is that you see people like The Rock, Arnold Schwarzenegger, David Goggins. These are all physical ideas. I feel like we've been in the gym a lot lately, so it's kind of like been on our minds. But these guys, you just see you see a lot more of their starhood, or whatever you call it. Like they're born as a star, versus then it dives deep into like all the crap that they pushed through, like the life that they had to deal with. Arnold Schwarzenegger struggled really hard to get an acting career started at first. And then he did. And now he's doing whatever. He was like the governor of California. This dude's crazy. David Goggins. They're all crazy. So all these guys and many, many more, many males, females, everybody has had, there's so many people you can see, and you don't know the push or the struggles until kind of after their stardom, I feel like.
Yeah, I like looking at stars or celebrities and then like diving into their stories and like their documentaries almost. It's just cool to like see the process and what they went through and how they overcame things and stuff. And you gain a bigger respect for them as a person, and instead of just an artist or just
like some god you're kind of worshiping.
Right.
You know, you view him more as this awesome human who's done some really inspiring things.
Right, for sure. It's good to like look at them and figure out the process they went through, but it's also like honestly a form of social media. Like you don't want to dive too far into it and again like idolize them and things like that. My old boss, actually, Trevor Farnes of Mountain Ups, he put on his story a few weeks ago this this story.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool.
It's crazy. He was just saying that there was this woman that he ran into, and they were just talking about life and how my boss Trevor had been feeling like down recently, just with society and like the news and the headlines and, you know, just all this stuff.
The drama of the world.
Right. All the stuff that's been going on, as we all know. He was asking this older lady, because she was obviously a little bit older and has been through like the Great Depression and smallpox and like all these other things, all these other big events through society. And he was just asking her like, so has this been like stressing you out? Like all of this like new news, or is it just like whatever because you've been through a lot?
Right,
or like what is your experience basically? I'm probably butchering this, so if Trevor ever listens to this, I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm like loving it. I'm like eating it up. Give it to me.
So what she was saying is basically that there's like just too much going on, and why focus on that when she can just like focus on her life? And I don't know if it was her or Trevor, but they got into this discussion about writing your own headlines.
Whoa, that sounds cool. Okay.
Instead of like looking at news headlines and, you know, reading about it, watching it, whatever, like make your own headlines. And so Trevor was like, yeah, that's, you know, I like that. Like one example would be like, Trevor wakes up and works out before the sunrise.
Nice.
You know, it's like, again, like those like small victories, like you gotta praise yourself and give yourself more credit. Like I said, like nobody else will really care that much, and nobody should care more than you do about your small victories.
And about making your own headlines every day, right?
Right.
It's almost like accomplishing just small little goals every single day. So you're always focused on your life, your goals, your everything. You're spending your energy and your time focused on things that are going to improve you, make you happy.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's a great thut. That's amazing.
That's why older people just have so much wisdom, you know?
Man, it makes me want to visit some old people.
Let's go to the retirement home. Yeah, old people just have so much knowledge, and we talked about that a few episodes ago. Just like learning from the people around you.
Using the old people for their wise wisdom of life.
There's also another podcast where I mentioned, like, when you wake up and you check your phone, the first thing, then you're like getting into other people's lives and seeing what other people are doing rather than starting your own day.
Right.
And this is kind of the same principle I've started to realize.
Right. Yeah, it's the same idea. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Beautiful thing.
The way that life just kind of flows together.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I think that's what gives me encouragement. Like I said, like just showing up, just starting, just trying. And that's what Sonner Sights is all about. And that's what we even talked about in the intro or the first few episodes. Like just getting started. For example, we are on episode 17
of this podcast that we honestly didn't really know what was going to happen with it.
Right.
Like every podcast is it's just been an inspired thing that we're like, let's do that. That sounds awesome. And we do it.
Right. And just like things that we learned from the week or our day yeah.
And I guess that has been the best life lesson that we've learned just in general recently of just trying. Life is about trying things.
Right. And you mentioned a few, again, I'm like referencing ourselves like the Bible. Goodness gracious. You were talking about
Ezekiel chapter 14. Verse 2.
Pierce Walker, chapter 5, verse 20.
Hit me with it.
You mentioned experience. The purpose of life is about experience. And so, yeah, like trying new things, experiencing things, like that's really what this life is all about. Again, I couldn't even stress it more. And your small victories is like a step-by-step process of your end goal or of like who you want to be a year from now.
Right.
And like I think people talk about that a lot, and I know I've talked about it a lot, but it is still like one of the hardest things that we struggle with is consistency.
That has to be the biggest life challenge out there is consistency and self-control. I think those are the two biggest battles, the two biggest wars fought in this life.
Wow.
That's what I'm going to say.
Bold move.
There's some more doctrine for you.
Wow. We'll quote that in a while. Nice, dude.
I feel like the proof of that idea is exactly what you just talked about with the wisdom that older people and people who've lived longer and have experienced life just know things. They just understand things. They're way more accepting of life in the world. I remember my mom talking about her dad, my grandpa, and how he was way more rough on them as kids. And I just go and hang out with my grandpa and make fun of him. We just give each other crap like all the time, you know, like it's crazy how people can change. And like that has to be the proof of the idea that experience is what life is all about. Because you also see older people that are stiff and bitter and filled with all these other terrible emotions. Like there's the variety of older people. Not every old person is going to be somebody you want to hang out with. The proof is wisdom. The proof is wisdom. And that usually comes from older people with experience.
I like talking about life with older people and whatever age that is, 30, 40, 50, just older than me, not older people, but older than me.
Thank you. That's a great way to put it.
Sorry, everybody.
Sorry if you're offended by being older than us.
Right. You should be.
You wise mother.
Yeah. Because as I talk to them about my life or their life or just any conversation, you just start to get a sense of how much this person has experienced, how many trips they've been on, the places that they've seen, the things that they've learned. And you can tell pretty quickly, I think, within knowing a person, you know, what they've been through and how much they've gone through, what they've experienced, you know. Just as you meet people, you start to talk about life experiences and learn from them.
Right.
And so it is just cool. And knowing that whoever the person that they are now is not them. It doesn't characterize them, everything about them. It's just who they are and who this person is in this present moment.
Right.
right? Because I look at my dad, I look at my parents or anybody, and I think of that form of that person as only them, right?
Okay.
Like they have their hobbies, they're so settled, but then you start to go backwards in their life and realize who they were and how they came to be that person. And then it's like, oh, wow, they went through a gnarly process of just, just trying things again.
Like the battles they've won in their lives,
Exactly.
And like the things they went through. Yeah.
Right. And I think in our society today, like just of Google search and the internet, we want like the quick solutions instead of the 40-year process.
Right.
And so it's just interesting, our society today. It's harder to understand the process to get where we want.
Right. And I think the idea applies in the reverse way too, with people who are older than you and do have knowledge about life can feel or can view you as like the baby or like somebody who doesn't know things.
Like no experience.
Right.
You don't know
No
anything.
experience. Right. And it can be like the reverse thinking.
Yeah.
Wisdom and experience is really the true teacher in life. And knowledge. Knowledge is the teacher too. Yeah.
All those people that we listed earlier, like David Goggins, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Holland, even like there's just so many
examples
that they were just normal, ordinary people before, and then just through habits and consistency, they ended up being someone great in the eyes of society,
Right.
And so there's people all around us every single day that we pass by that are going to be awesome and going to be, famous one day. They don't even know it.
Totally.
This all just circles around the idea of creating the life that you want. Like the overall idea that you can live whatever life you want is so in reach when you think about the daily tasks that you want to accomplish.
Exactly. The small victories you can have that will eventually lead you down the road of your life to what you want. That's why people go to school. They see these schools as just a little stepping stone. It's like stepping stones for your life to get to the ultimate rock. You know what I mean?
You were so proud of that. You look at me, you're like, yeah.
It's like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So all of that is a lot to take in. Think about it, I guess. Maybe write down some notes, reminders.
Think about just some small victories that you feel like are in reach, but also push you. Well, an example, going to the gym has been a push from signing up for a Spartan race.
Right.
So it did take a push, I feel like, for us to really push ourselves through these winter months, and it's been great. Now we've developed a habit of going to the gym, and that's, I guess, why we're even talking about it, is because now we feel comfortable saying it, because we have developed and we have put in some work and some effort and have seen the growth like we've talked about.
Well, it's funny. I bought that Spartan race solely for this purpose. Like I paid for it so that I would be like, you know what? I paid for this race. I have to do it now, and I'm either going to be suffering or I'm going to be suffering less.
Less.
Dude, it's like it's a 10K.
You're right.
It's gonna be rough.
An awesome, hellish experience.
Yeah.
And you're dying at the gym and you say, I love dying now because I'm gonna die later. And it's just great.
There's something about just making yourself suffer that
it really just gets you going. Keeps you going.
So anyways, we've been talking for probably too long, but I like that episode.
I feel like there's a lot of good thoughts. So this is the thoughtful episode.
Super thoughtful.
Thoughtful, indeed.
But because of that, we have talked about next week, we want to do some fun and funny podcasts. We don't know exactly what. So the next two ones will be fun. Maybe about like a trip or something, or we got to brainstorm on that.
Well, we already have some ideas. We just don't want to commit to anything. You don't want us to commit to anything right now.
We don't want to give you too big of a sneak peek.
It's going to be goofy. That's really all you need to know,
Yeah. So, bring your laughing emotions and join
us. So if you enjoy hearing our thoughts or our lame jokes or our stories, whatever, if you just enjoy it in the slightest, you should share it with anybody that comes to your mind, whether it's family, friend, a neighbor,
random passerby.
Right, random passerby. I actually have a friend, Kate Nichols. Shout out to her.
Good job, Kate.
She's always sharing. I feel like she'll post stuff on her story. At least when we first started Saunter Side, she was really good about it. Yeah. And she did tell me that she was talking to somebody about stickers, and somebody was complimenting her stickers on her water bottle, and she turned the focus to the Saunter Side stickers that she has and shared what it was and who we are and all this stuff. And
she's too kind.
And it was awesome. And it really makes us happy. It really feels like we're doing something that that people enjoy, that people have fun with. So share it. It helps us It motivates us in a lot of ways.
And I'm hoping it will motivate other people too as well. So
Agreed.
all around, go Sonder Sites. Oh yeah.
Like, see you on the next one.
I was going to say that. See you.